to venue.
Okay, about a year ago, my cousin bought his first truck. He got a 93 Ford Ranger, and it's a manual vehicle. And I asked him to teach me how to drive it. So we went out in the backfield and we started, and he told me the basics. And first thing he was telling me was slowly let off the clutch and hit the gas and keep letting the clutch go. That did not work very well. I stalled the truck probably 3 or 4 times in a row before I actually got going, and then told me to stop, do it again, and then I stalled it again. It took me probably 2 or 3 trips up, because we'd spend weekends at a time, 2 or 3 trips up there to finally get the hang of it, and then I drove it on the road, and I almost broke the truck and almost got killed, but that's another story for another time. So today I'm going to teach you how to drive a manual transmission vehicle. You'll start out and you'll have 3 pedals compared to 2. That might be hard for some of you to understand. You have your gas, your brake, that's really big, and then your clutch. And then to start your vehicle out, you want to completely press the clutch to the floor and turn your key and start the vehicle. And then while you're doing this, usually the car will be in second gear because your tires will not roll if your vehicle is in second gear. After that, you will keep the clutch held in, put it in neutral. Well, neutral at first, and then you will once you have the vehicle in first gear, you will slowly let off the clutch until you feel the vehicle start to shake or move. And once you do that, you want to give it a little bit of gas until the vehicle gets above, usually they say around 15,000 RPMs. And then you want to slowly let the clutch out and continue pressing down on the gas. Usual patterns for a transmission vehicle or manual transmission vehicle, they have most times a 5-speed transmission. So you'll have on your ball you'll have bigger. You'll have first gear, second, third, fourth, fifth, and reverse. Once you get into fifth, do not think you have an extra gear. If you put it into reverse, that's really bad. Really bad.
It makes a great sound.
Great sound, and you might come to a screeching halt if your foot's on the gas. If you put your foot back on the gas. Or there's other versions of this where it's 1, I think 2, 3, 4, 5, and then reverse. There's other patterns to it. This is the most common though. And after you've gotten going, you can either, normally if you have to find the feel for the vehicle that you're driving, but normally there's kind of a sound your vehicle makes when it wants you to shift into the next gear. And when that happens, you want to put the clutch all the way to the floor again. You want to drop it out of gear, move it over, and put it into the next gear. And then you want to let off the gas, and at the same time you want to let off the clutch, and at the same time you're putting your foot back on the gas. And you just continue to do that as you're going through your gears. And then if you're going to come to a stop, there are a few ways you can do this. If you know, like at what RPMs that you can, there's two forms. You can downshift, or you can just take it out of gear and slow down. Taking it out of gear will it does as it's told. All the gears in your transmission won't connect, so your transmission does not make your wheels move or anything. So if you take it out of gear, you will coast to wherever you're stopping, or you can downshift. So if you're in 5th gear and you want to come to a stop and you slow down to the speed that you shifted at, or low enough RPMs, you'll hit the clutch, drop it out of gear, and drop it into 4th. And then you can let off the clutch and you'll keep coasting. You don't need to hit the gas. And then you go on so forth from where you started. And then problems most people have when trying to first drive a manual vehicle is when you're trying to shift, you think you have to jam your stick into gear. You really just have to, you can push it lightly, like you can, steal Fred's water bottle. You can just, instead of going jamming it into gear, you can just kind of slightly push it and it'll slide right in. Make sure that you have it in the right gear because I've done that before and it's not all the way into gear and then your truck stalls and it's not good. Or don't, I've done this before too, if you, it's easy to miss a gear that you're moving into because I was driving once, I went into first and I thought I went up over, but instead I went back to first and your engine will try to slow itself down and you will, like your tires will break themselves and you'll hear and then it'll slow itself down enough to continue moving. And that's kind of the basics of driving a manual transmission vehicle.
Okie dokie dokie dokie.